Okay, welcome everybody to the town board meeting of Tuesday, May 28th, 2019. Start off with some announcements. Art Around Town, this Thursday, the opening night from 5 to 8 p.m. Go into local merchants, have some wine, some bites, and see some great art from our local artists. Sponsored by the Northern Westchester Artists Guild.
Thursday.
The 82nd Annual Strawberry Festival, Saturday, June 1st, from 11 to 4 at the Church of St. Mary the Virgin on South Greeley Avenue next to the Bell School, right across the street. Kiddie games, great food, craft dealers, bounce castles, petting zoo, and live entertainment. Spring Festival, also this weekend, May 31st to June 2nd. Church of St. John and St. Mary. So Saturday, they both have things going on, a little bit of little competition there. That's at 30, there's a little overlap from 3 to 4, a little overlap, but you're right. 30 Poyland Drive, Chappaqua, Carnival.
They have beer.
Yes, they do.
And a band.
In that case,
So they have Carnival Games, Beer and Wine Garden, Arthur Avenue Food, Kids Zone, Carnival Rides, Inflatable Rides, Unique Boutiques, and live entertainment. That's from Friday, 6 to 10 p.m., Saturday, 3 to 10 p.m., and Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. National Gun Violence Awareness Day is Friday, June 7th.
I'm telling you.
Wear orange, and we may be having an event at the gazebo at that day, so stay tuned for details. But nevertheless, wear orange on June 7th, Friday. Okay, so the supervisor report. Our Memorial Day Parade, thank you to Peter Gaudet, our new Grand Marshal. Thank you to also James McCauley for his 19 straight years of service and continued guidance this year. Thank you to our Memorial Day Committee, Barbara Jenkel, David Egerton, Dr. Michael Finkelstein. Who was the person that set up Lori? I forgot her name.
No, Lori Townsend was there.
Lori Townsend as well, and Eric Rosenfeld. And thank you to Town Administrator Joe Shapiro and Lauren Cascone for their help organizing the parade and ceremony. Most importantly, thank you for keeping the focus on remembering and honoring those who died serving our country. Thank you, Girl Scouts, for planting fresh plants in the flower bed by the Chappaqua train station so it looks pretty for the Memorial Day ceremony. And thank you, William Ravis, for donating the plants again. Let's see, tonight we will be having a public hearing. Are we having a public hearing tonight on the extension of the downtown zoning moratorium? We had, it expires this June, so we're going to be opening a public hearing to extend it for another 6 months as we work on our rezoning, which is starting. Let's see, speaking of our rezoning, we have a working group, and the work group consists of the town board, the planning board, Randy Katcha, Steve Tavalacci, and Bill Spade. We had our kickoff meeting on May 23rd, and our consultant even started meeting with stakeholders on that day. Our next meeting will be June 10th. Let's see, the infrastructure project. So we have our North Greeley granite curbing was installed by Stews and Lawrence. They started pouring the concrete today. Decorative light fixtures were also installed. And as far as Lower King, granite curbing was installed, decorative light fixtures were installed, and they started grading the sidewalks. I just drove by on the way here. It looks like they're ready for some sidewalks, hopefully start pouring tomorrow as they planned. Definitely looks like it's ready for that. They also excavated the alley on Lower Kings, and that has been graded and concrete was already poured there. As far as Allen Place, they excavated the existing sidewalk and curb. This week, they're going to be form and place the concrete curb, not granite curb, for that sidewalk, and the following week, they'll start installing the sidewalk. As far as South Greeley, tonight, they will be starting night work to remove the existing curb and sidewalk. They're going to be on the Starbucks side. During the day, they'll be grading for the granite curb and installing the conduits and light pole footings. The following week, they'll also be working at night and will be excavating the other side of the street, other side of South Greeley, and doing the same thing during the day, grading for the concrete curb, installing the conduits, and light pole footings. Work on Chappaqua Crossing, work on 117 continues. They did experience delays, just as we have in our downtown project due to underground utility conflicts, and so they continue to work on the retaining wall along 117. So last week, National Gun Violence Awareness Day, I'm going to wrap this up soon. The town board passed, last week, the town board had passed a resolution, not last week, yes, it was last week. The town board passed a resolution declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence and declare that we, as a country, must do more to reduce gun violence. This resolution is being passed by communities across the country, and the resolution notes that 100 Americans are killed by gun violence every single day. On average, there are nearly 13,000 gun homicides every year. Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other high-income countries. In January 2013, Hidayah Pendleton, a teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade, was tragically shot and killed just weeks later. To help honor Hidayah and the 100 Americans whose lives are cut short and the countless survivors who are injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations has designated June 7th, the first Friday in June, as a 5th National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And the idea to wear orange was inspired by a group of Hidayah's friends who asked their classmates to wear orange to commemorate her life. I would encourage all residents to wear orange on June 7th to show support for the effort to prevent tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives and encourage responsible gun ownership. Leaf blower environmental protection law. We've scheduled a public hearing for June 11th. Westchester County Airport, we made lots of progress on that front over the last couple of weeks, and that'll be my supervisory report. Tonight, we'll be voting on amending our vape law to include the same restrictions for recreational marijuana. And that's pretty much it for me. And now on to the town administrator's report with Jill Shapiro.
Thank you. I just want to add my thanks, a special shout out to our police department, who just did an amazing job of making yesterday's parade safe and a wonderful event for our community, as they do every year. I'd also like to thank Walter Quast for setting up everything early Monday morning with me, my assistant Lauren, and also a thank you to Kira for helping us out, handing out flags and programs yesterday. It was really great to have another set of hands, so thanks so much. Confidential paper shredding returns. Mark your calendars. It's a residents-only event, June 1st from 10 a.m. to 1, downtown at the Recycling Center on Hunts Lane, which is soon to be Joan Corwin Way, actually. And the parking permit renewals are due. They all expire on June 15th. Online registration is ongoing. Have any questions, contact the clerk's office. Otherwise, there's a banner across our website. Just click on it, go right to parking permits. And I actually wasn't able to attend the kickoff meeting for the downtown zoning because I had a construction meeting and another meeting out of town, but it's posted online. So it's an hour and a half, and it is really worthwhile to just, so that the public knows what's going on. All of these meetings will be taped, and they're all posted on NCCMC's website. There's a link from our website, and I invite the public to keep up to date on what's going on. It's really exciting stuff. So thanks.
Is that in your administrator's report about the working group, or should I add that to mine, the link?
No, you should have it's in NCCMC.
Got it. Okay, terrific. All right, now we have a presentation from Energize New York. So basically, tonight we're going to be opening a public hearing about Energize New York, their C-PACE financing program. And we have a presentation tonight. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, even though we just met
Mark Tilken.
3 seconds ago. Mark. Yeah, please, thank
So
you.
we should, you know what, we should open the public hearing because it is on
Okay.
the law, so all of his comments are, and
Yes, good
explanations
idea.
are part of
So
it.
it takes 2 seconds. So motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
That was
I
it.
wasn't kidding when I said 2 seconds.
So just by way of introduction, I'm Mark Tilken. I'm the co-executive director of the Energy Improvement Corporation. We're better known as Energize New York. That's kind of our brand name. And I believe the town of Newcastle has been a member of EIC for the last 4 years. We were formed in 2011 by the town of Bedford to help municipalities disseminate, but also distribute public benefits related to energy efficiency and renewable energy to their constituents. And one of the most important aspects of the services we provide are what's called PACE financing, or property assessed clean energy financing. And what PACE financing is it's a state-enabled public benefit. It allows for municipalities to provide capital for commercial buildings, not-for-profit buildings, multifamily buildings, basically any building that's 4 units and greater, 5 units and greater. And these funds are used to improve them for energy efficiency, renewable energy, and they're repaid back, or they're secured by a municipal benefit lien. So what the state did back in 2009 in passing Article 5L was to allow energy efficiency improvements, renewable energy improvements to be equated to, say, water district extensions or sewer extensions or fire districts, similar stuff like that. And what EIC does is essentially administer these programs on your behalf. So we're a constituted authority of the town among 47 towns around the state, representing 40% of the population. We're extending that with the Open CPACE program. And why I'm here today is to really just to go through the differences between what existed before and what Open CPACE is today. So just to review, Open CPACE allows for 100% of the project costs of these improvements to be forwarded to these qualified properties. And again, they're only to be used for energy efficiency or renewable energy improvements. And one of the big differences with Open CPACE is that before we had one capital provider, we now have multiple capital providers. So they're all competing for the business of the residents of the town of Newcastle. We have 12 actually approved to date. Terms can go up to 30 years, meaning that a lot of these improvements are very long lasting. So you're replacing things like insulation and maybe putting solar on the roof, and these are very, very long lives. So to match off that financing with that type of improvement makes it very cost effective. And because it's secured by a municipal public benefit lien, the financing automatically transfers from property owner to property owner. So much like, again, like a sidewalk improvement or a water district hookup, doesn't matter who owns that property, you're still going to be paying that charge because the benefit still accrues to that building. Same thing with these improvements. So it really does allow for scaling of these types of improvements. And as like the old program, all these improvements have to be approved by a NYSERDA guideline process. So NYSERDA, New York State's energy office, issued guidelines related to what qualifies for PACE. And that then we fold that into the program here in Newcastle and everywhere we operate. So the biggest differences between the old program and the new program is that before the town had to backstop any delinquencies. That is no longer the case. Also, the difference between the old program and the new program is that the town had to collect these in payments. That's no longer the case. EIC actually bills in behalf of the town. And so we're doing all the collections. And if there's a delinquency, because this municipal benefit assessment lien is separate from taxes, the enforcement of that lien is separate from the municipality. It'll be enforced by our capital providers. Another big difference is that this lien is junior to taxes of the town. So the taxes of the town have to be paid first before this lien is to be actuated and to be executed. So there's still no fees for the town to join. We run the program sustainably, charging fees to our borrowers, but also we're funded by New York State. And then really that's the big difference is that there's no longer any responsibility for the town for really anything except for passing the local law tonight, signing the municipal agreement. And then the only other responsibility is when we do a financing, you have to confirm that the law is in place and the municipal agreement is in place at the time that we do financing. So it's a certificate, it's a template document, it's just 1 page each, and that's the only action that the town would have to take for us to move forward with the financing.
So under the Open CPACE program, the role of the town is really limited to promoting the program and making sort of potential applicants aware of the benefit.
That's basically it, and those 2 certificates when it's financing.
And it's still only available for commercial properties and not-for-profits.
Commercial, not-for-profit, multifamily buildings, 5 units and greater.
Okay.
So not resident.
Not single family.
Right.
Not single-family residential, not up to 4 units residential. Above 4 units, though, it can be.
So that new project could use it, actually. The one up on
Yeah.
91K.
yeah.
Well, our capital providers are on our website, so you can just send them the link.
Yeah,
They can start talking to the writer. And that's actually another big difference is that they can talk to multiple capital providers and get the best rate.
Right.
So,
Can you just,
Well, we did it last time, so now it's even better.
right.
can you just summarize the agreement for the board so they understand what the
Sure.
agreement does?
So the local law actually just restates Article 5 out of the state statute, and it confirms that we're your constituted authority in providing this public benefit. The agreement lays out, again, the responsibilities that EIC carries out in behalf of the municipality. So that includes we're billing, we're collecting, we're administering the program as our underwriting standards require. There is a component that if you wanted to add additional criteria, you could do that as well. You would just direct us to do that, and we would apply that to projects from the town of Newcastle.
What does that mean, additional criteria? Like, what's an example?
Well, back in the old program, when you were responsible for backstopping,
yeah.
it was avoiding properties that would be difficult to foreclose on. So, say a gas station, where you maybe have contamination, you don't want to foreclose on it. Under the new program, it's really not,
Sort of up to you.
we don't expect it to be used.
Right.
It's up to you, but it's not really expected. So we left that in there because this is your program, this is the town's
Yeah.
public benefit, so to speak. We're just administering it, but that is in there. I think, that's it in a high-level form. The agreement really, again, just lays out who does what in the provision of PACE.
The best part is we don't do much, other than offer it, so it's good. Okay.
Well, we'll help get the word out, that's for sure.
Great.
So,
In fact, our chamber, I don't mean to interrupt, Jill, our chamber, I know, is working on putting together an email list for every single merchant. I mean, right now, we have emails for most chamber members, but they're trying to get an email list for every single merchant out there. So then this would be a great thing to email them.
absolutely.
And to be clear, this is an agreement between the property owner.
Right, I know, I understand, but a lot of them are property owners
But-
also, right?
Yeah,
You could have them pass it along,
great.
some of them are property owners.
And the fact that it transfers from, a lot of tenants actually do pay their electric bills and their heating bills. And so sometimes if you can make it a triple net lease, you can convert that lease into where the benefits flow directly to the property owner.
Right.
It can be very impactful.
We could certainly target some of the, we have 2 buildings in town that put solar on their roofs, so they might be interested.
Great. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing lots of projects.
Terrific. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this point.
Well, you want to see if there's public comment?
Yeah.
Any public comment? Jimmy? All right. Okay, thank you. So what are we doing, just hearing? Keep it
We
open?
could close the public hearing, holding it open for public comments until noon on Friday the 7th, and then the board could vote on it on the 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Good to go.
Thank you,
so
Mark.
much.
good night.
Thank you.
Problem.
John, you missed public comment for our, not just for the public hearing, but public comment in general. No, we could do public comment. Come on, Jen.
We go to our public hearings.
Come on, Johnny.
Actually, it's all the way down
Yeah, we
here.
actually have it out there.
Comment, new business is
No, but I
all the way down
understand,
here.
I wanted to miss it a little bit.
Well, I think the first thing that everybody should mention is kudos to the town. What a terrific job yesterday.
Not us, them.
Setting this, just a wonderful day for the town. It was well managed, well done. Every one of the departments, picked up from the police department to the town, the folks that cleaned up after everybody and the folks that created everything, the organization, the seating. Just an amazing day, and I want to very much thank everybody for setting up a terrific event for the town. It's absolutely amazing.
I saw you bantering with some of our out-of-town guests up by Walgreens.
Oh, yeah.
Glad to see you're here.
It's not a problem for me. Hey, it's, I've
You could banter with anyone.
Hey, man, they're the best of them.
Well.
Would've been good if we actually sent you in there on
Listen, those
purpose.
guys, they drove 5 hours to get here, to come for this. They were, it's just,
Heart goes out.
well. It's not the thing that I would do for Memorial Day, but I believe it's important that everybody be welcome and so forth.
It's not the spirit of Memorial Day, that's for
It-
sure.
Yeah, certainly not the spirit of this day,
But
but,
but what the soldiers died for is freedom of speech, and they were exercising their
I
freedom
don't
of speech.
think they died for the freedom to yell at Girl Scouts as they
Yeah,
once have.
That's okay. Freedom
Well,
of
they
speech,
were
freedom of
respectful
speech
during the
includes
ceremony,
it
though,
all
I
as
have to
much
say.
as
we did have a little bit of
Offensive as it could
a
be.
talk about that, and I just believe in
But I-
approaching
So
things
did we.
directly.
Me and my 8-year-old last night, we got to talk about that. so.
I believe in approaching things directly, and as I think I
Thoughts
worded.
in the past 3 years that I didn't anticipate
He's up
getting
there
to
more, he's
have.
like
My
3 of them
lifetime.
and him. I'm like, oh, God, John.
But listen, I'm not scared. I'll take them all.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on, guys.
got the
But it was
cane.
great. All I was trying to do was thank the town for doing a great job.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, the second point, it's an opportunity to talk, and a couple of people brought up to me that there's a situation in town that I really would hope that the town board would help remedy. As Lisa knows, we work very, very hard on getting good concerts in town. It's enormously important. We want CPAC to thrive. We also want all of our venues to thrive. So it was brought to my attention yesterday that one of the town's leading cultural organizations, our Chappaqua Orchestra, was unfortunately, I heard from a lot of people, they were very upset that they're not on this year's summer schedule. Now, the reason why people are upset, it's an opportunity for them. It's not a, it's a kind of volunteer, semi-professional organization, and they want to play. I believe we need more concerts, not less. So what I did is I went to the source, the recreation department, and I asked, so what happened? And it was explained to me that a party shall remain nameless, a new person in town, I will not bring up the person's name now, made a decision that, well, we've had them there a long time, they come, but there's no guarantee they're gonna be here every year. And I was trying to argue that it's a good thing for us to do, so let's do this. If you've only got 4 concerts set up, can we set up a 5th concert so that the Chappaqua Orchestra can play?
John, just so you know, I mean, first of all, Ike is not that new. He's in his second or third year. And that's the goal. That's exactly what's already happening. They're gonna set up a 5th concert. There's gonna be a 6th concert too for the Don DuPont Band.
That's great.
And it's gonna be, the goal is also to have it at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center, which is actually a comfortable venue. And, a lot of times concerts are held there anyway because of the rain. And we're also, there's a chance that, there's gonna be road construction, and we're taking a little bit of a risk right now with these summer concerts to begin with.
Mhm.
In fact, we were gonna have a couple of them inside,
That's fine.
but we decided, well, I didn't really decide, but we just figured we'd roll the dice and see what happens. But at least with a loud band, you don't have to worry about the construction, unlike the Chappaqua Orchestra. And
Sure it won't help.
and we have sponsors also, and they want concerts that are crowded and a lot of people there and last for a couple of hours with breaks, and so we're gonna make everybody happy.
I'm fine with that. I just was saying, I was hearing from the Chappaqua Orchestra that they were very concerned that they did not have an opportunity to perform. They want to.
And to be clear, they want to perform outside, not
They
inside
do,
that
yeah, they
chapel.
don't want to be inside.
I also
We made
heard
that
from them.
decision.
We could do it outside. It's
I
fine.
share your concerns.
Well, that's what I like about Memorial Day parades. I hear everything. from one end of the town to the
They
other.
can do it outside. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
the first I heard about inside. Nobody wants them inside.
This is
Everyone
obviously
likes
not a
them
decision
outside.
that has come before the town
Yeah.
board or that we
Well,
discussed.
nor should it.
nor is it, by the way, a decision that the
Nor-
town board ever
Nor should it.
is
I'm
involved
just
with.
bringing it
It's
to
the
the
rec department
attention.
picks the
We know.
bands, they line up the sponsors, and we're not involved in the,
So why don't we'll make it a volunteer effort and we'll do it anyway.
I was only involved in the sense that we knew that we would have construction, and there was a chance we had to move all the concerts inside, and we decided not to. But that was from the streetscape point of view, because of the construction.
We got it. I understand completely. Let's just give them an opportunity to perform in our venues. And we're grateful for all of that. And really, that's all I wanted to say. The most important thing was, thank you.
Listen, a Sunday
Yeah.
afternoon concert could be good too, if it's not too hot.
Well,
We have a lot of options.
Go to Chatback.
Well, if they don't want to be inside, it's different.
wanna be
But I'm just
outside.
saying,
Be
it's,
outside.
there are different options.
And I think they want to be consulted and not informed.
Well, that was clear. I don't think it was handled well.
All right.
Excuse me for saying so.
Well, we do have a great lineup of 4 concerts, which are going to be well-attended, and hopefully we'll have a 5th and 6th one for the Don DuPont Band and for the Chapter Orchestra. But the lineup they got for the concerts are going to be great, hopefully well-attended, and bring people from other towns, and make the sponsors happy, and the food trucks happy. So that's important, too. So, okay.
And the residents.
Let's see what we got here. So now we go on to the public hearing to extend the downtown zoning moratorium. So, motion to open that hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, Drew, you want to talk about this, or I can talk about it if you want?
You could talk about it.
Okay. I have it in my supervisor's report, so I'll just read that portion.
I'll add in any blanks.
Oh, there won't be any blanks. So, let's see. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, on November 20th, 2018, the Newcastle Town Board enacted a 6-month moratorium to allow adequate time for the town board to implement new retail and commercial zoning legislation for the Chappaqua Hamlet. We must update our zoning so it's consistent with the 2017 comprehensive plan, with the goals of the 2017 comprehensive plan. Some of those goals include creating a new and more vibrant mix of retail, facilitate the development of diverse housing that meets the needs of young people and older adults, and creating design guidelines for retail and commercial establishments. Since the adoption of the moratorium, the town board has authorized creation and issuance of a request for proposals for the Chappaqua Hamlet rezoning. We released the RFP, and after a series of interviews, the town board awarded the contract to Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn has set forth a 12 to 15-month project
terrific.
time frame. That would be great. I could do it in 15 minutes. 12 to 15-month project time frame with draft regulations ready by November, December of 2019. Since the current moratorium will expire on June 3rd, 2019, and we are now looking into extending it for another 6 months so that there will be time for development of the new zoning regulations. Drew, did I miss anything?
Nope, that's it. We received comment. Oh, sorry, my mic wasn't on. We received comments from the Westchester County Planning Department. They said that the moratorium extension looked consistent with the criteria for what's required to extend the moratorium, so we're good there. The local law is going to be referred to the town planning board, and they'll review it next Tuesday. So we are looking good there as well.
Okay. So, any public comment on the extending the moratorium for another 6 months? Okay, so we'll leave it open
So we need
for,
to actually put this in the record, right? As an
Yes.
exhibit. So Christina, we should put the Westchester County Planning Board letter in the record as one of the exhibits.
Okay.
okay, so why don't we leave it open for written comments?
Actually, we should leave it open because the planning board has not submitted their comments to us.
Okay.
We need to leave it open, and adjourn until next week as well. So not just for written comments, but in case the planning board has any substantive comments, we need to be able to let people respond and let the planning board have their say as well.
Right,
Okay.
it would be our intention at that point to accept the planning board comments on that Tuesday evening, and then have the town board vote on it as well,
What day is that?
So-
the 4th.
But it's expiring the 3rd.
Yeah. It'll be retroactive.
That's what we did initially.
We did that also. yeah.
Right,
It's risky business.
yeah.
So, okay. So we will adjourn the public hearing to next Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, terrific. So let's see what else we got here. Moving right along. We're going to continue some public hearings. Well, actually, no, we're voting on the, so that one we're not continuing. We are going to continue the small cell wireless telecommunications communication legislation. Motion to reopen,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any comments on the small cell wireless telecommunication legislation? Do we need a summary of that? Basically, we're
I
gonna
have a
adopt,
question for
Yes.
you about the small cell wireless. I had emailed Nick, and I'm not sure if he passed it along to you, but I want to make sure that in the regulations, we make clear that they cannot be co-located on any of our new street lamps in downtown. So I know that we say we have a preference for existing utility poles, but I want to say with the exclusion of the decorative street lamps included in downtown town.
yeah, that's a good
Sure,
point.
and that should
And
be,
Millwood as well.
Yeah.
there should be a reference to that in the law currently, but I will go through it again and make sure
There
that it's
should be, but this
clear.
law is so long and
I
I
know.
looked at it, I didn't see it, so I just
You-
wanted to make sure it's in there.
It's a subsection of a subsection, and it's just, a requirement in there, but I'll comb through and make sure that I didn't just dream that.
Perfect, thank you.
So basically, just for purposes of what this is about, it's basically 5G communications, and telecommunication companies are looking for towns to work with, and we're going to adopt some guidelines so that we have some control over it, as opposed to maybe down the road when we have no control. So that's essentially what it's about.
I didn't see also, when we discussed this at our work session, we had a number of changes we wanted incorporated. I didn't see them
This is the
at
old
all.
draft.
This is
Yeah.
the old
This is not the
draft.
I
new-
was
Yeah.
concerned.
We have not incorporated those changes yet. We're actually pulling up some other guidelines and local laws that have been passed to see if we can address the concerns raised by the town board and the planning board at the joint meeting. Since I wasn't there, Nick and I and Jen Gray have to sit down and kind of talk about where your comments were and what we can do to kind of make sure that those are seen in the local law, so we have not gotten to that point yet.
When should we
What are we
expect
having a
that?
public hearing on tonight? I mean, I think there were
Well, it
some
was just-
substantial.
Yeah,
Right,
there
it was
were.
it's just a continuation, so,
We need to see the new
yeah,
legislation.
we need to be able
Correct,
to,
yes.
yeah, we don't have it yet. So we continue it so that we don't end up with having notice problems, having to take and renotice it, it's a minimum of 10 days, things like that. It's to try to move it along.
So when do you think you'll
Whether
have
that's the
those
end
materials?
result is,
We're going to
Updates.
kick it over for another week anyway.
So when do
so
you
we're
think
definitely
we'll
thinking
have a
about-
draft,
Sure.
Drew?
I'm looking at my calendar. I can, it's already Tuesday. I totally forgot that we had off yesterday. I'll do everything I can to try and get it to you by next Tuesday. If not, the Tuesday after, definitely something.
Well, are we going to kick this over until next Tuesday, just to keep within the 10 days? Jill?
yeah, we would continue it.
So we'll
It's
just
just-
keep on
Scenario, we'll just kick it again.
continuing.
For the 11th.
Kick it over to, do you think you can get it done for the 4th?
Worst
Otherwise-
case scenario,
I think-
worst case scenario, we can just
can
move it
always
again.
adjourn
Just
it.
move
Kick it over if
again.
it's not ready.
Yeah.
Can I
I
ask a
don't want-
question about that, though? There was a requirement from the FCC that if a town wished to have their own regulations, that they needed to pass that by April 15th.
Right.
We've come and gone, right? But But so what does that mean? Does that mean now if we pass something that they're not required to abide by our regulations? Like, is there a ticking clock here, or are we okay to continue to make sure it says all the things we need it to say?
Yeah, so we believe that we are okay to continue because we're showing our due diligence to
Sure.
get these passed. We are not the only municipality working on this. Many municipalities are also in the same boat, trying to, move forward with their legislation. From other research I've done, I've found that municipalities adopted the bare minimum to meet that April 15th deadline, and now they're all taking their time to rework their legislation as well.
Okay.
So, this is changing and happening all over the country.
They didn't give us that much notice either, really.
No, absolutely, and it was not exactly a realistic goal that, everyone would have it passed at April 15th and you wouldn't have any other legislation coming down the pipe and, just not practical. So we're doing everything
And
we can.
interestingly, there are some municipalities that have chosen to sue the FCC because for this very reason, that they did not get enough time.
Absolutely,
to do sufficient-
yeah. Those are the bigger cities really have taken
And
action,
they
yeah.
have pending applications and they have
Not
no.
Newcastle.
Yeah, and they have no law in place.
Right, and
which is
that's
really
it.
putting them in between a rock and a hard place.
We don't have any pending applications. If we did have that issue, we'd have to address it and work with the applicant at that point. But no one is coming to the town for small wireless facilities at this time. So we are, we want to take our time to, adopt the best thing for Newcastle.
What were we looking at Sacramento for again? What did they do well that
They
we've
had
done?
it under benches
Yeah,
and
right.
like decorative
That's,
benches,
so that's
things
Palo
like that.
Alto, not Sacramento?
Yeah, Palo
But
Alto.
my
California
concern about
stuff.
Palo Alto as an example is that was from
I thought
January of
Palo Alto.
2017.
It was Pasadena.
No, it actually wasn't. We went back and looked at it, and it's Palo Alto. So my concern is that one may be so dated that we
Might
no
have said
longer
that's-
have that same leverage with the telecommunications companies that they had in Palo Alto,
Yeah,
in
so,
Silicon Valley in January of 2017.
and you're referring to the
So
stealthing
get it in.
technology that
Yeah.
Nick shared,
Yes.
that was part of the Verizon proposal from the date you just referenced. But they have actually adopted legislation recently, that incorporates some of those guidelines as well. So we're looking at not Verizon's product, but what Palo Alto did after that, and they adopted it in April. So I went through and I looked at that as well.
Because we're spending so much money on our streetscape to make it look nice, to then have to, which I said last time, to have to put those giant boxes right in your visual line of sight, I think would be horrible. So if we can adopt any kind of good ideas that the other municipalities have, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. And I actually pulled up, because somehow Pasadena got mentioned, so I looked at theirs as well. But Palo Alto, I'm not working from the stealthing recommendations of Verizon, but rather from the legislation that they worked to pass. And funny enough, that's one of the municipalities that adopted simple guidelines in the beginning, and they actually set a 6-month period for their planning board to come back to them with further recommendations on how to improve the law.
One of the other things that I learned, Lisa, when I started to look into this a little bit more, is that the giant boxes are only needed for the backup batteries for emergency services and aren't needed for every installation. So in most cases, you can have a small battery co-located on the pole, and you only need those giant boxes when you've determined there's a backup emergency need, and they wouldn't be located on they'd be sort of more
But
diffuse.
they'd still be
But so the issue is, I
there,
feel like
so
there's
we still
more,
wanna
there's more
regulate it.
education we need to do of
Right.
ourselves, and
Those exactly
We
like
still need
changes
to regulate it,
to-
because I've seen them.
100%.
Yeah, the giant boxes
No.
don't go with every application. I'm not saying that they won't go with any, but they don't go with
That's
every
what I was trying to say.
application.
Thank you.
Right.
So it's something to be prepared for, but it won't be every single one.
Well, we just gotta be careful, it's a perfect storm here. We're being rushed, and we got a new streetscape, and it's, it's new technology, so it's just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. I'm gonna say realistically, for a good draft, June 11th will be, but I'll see if I can get some changes in by June 4th. I'll do the best I can.
So,
And if someone did come along, is it 60 days or 90 days? How much time?
For a small wireless facility, it is 60 days.
okay. So motion to adjourn the public hearing
And that we
to
can't change.
That we cannot change.
June 4th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 But you can toll the agreement, so
We
if
have to
someone.
open, we have to
Oh,
reopen.
yeah, Drew. It's been adjourned already, Drew. Come on, you can say you can.
just going to say that you can always enter into a tolling agreement to halt.
With the applicant.
With the applicant, to halt that time period. So, you know, if we work with them, they might give you more time to do whatever you need to do.
Okay. Okay, so authorization to set some public hearings. Wetlands, local law to amend Chapter 137 of the Code of the Town of Newcastle concerning wetlands. We're going to set the public hearing for June 25th.
28th?
Want to do that, Jeremy?
It's a Friday.
Didn't I just do it?
No.
Just want to see if you were paying
guess so.
attention, that's all.
June 28th, you said, right?
June 25.
June 25, not
June
June 20
25.
Not June 28?
28th is a Friday.
7
These are
PM.
not.
So, second.
It's a
I don't know
typo.
where I'm going to be, but it ain't here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're doing a good job, Rob, today.
What? I was just saying, I'm not going to be here Friday at June 28th at 7 o'clock for wetlands local public hearing. I'm sorry.
You know I will be.
Okay, next one. Fence, a local law to amend Chapter 60, Section 210 of the Code of the Town of Newcastle, providing a definition for fence or wall height. And that'll also be June 25th.
If, please.
That one I might attend on.
At 7 PM.
At 7 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
And further direct the
Aye.
town clerk to refer said proposed local law to the Newcastle Planning Board and the Westchester County Planning Department for comments.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Devil's in the details.
I was just introducing it.
Yeah, I thought you were going through reading it. All right, so that's.
So we did public comment, new business. Unless anybody else has any other public comment, new business. Ted, welcome. You lost, Ted?
Yes, I was supposed to be here for a minute, so I'll watch.
Okay.
I move to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $320,520.30 listed on the summary pre-check writing report and detailed voucher detail report, each prepared on May 28th of this glorious year. Checks will be issued and mailed to each claimant listed on Wednesday, May 29th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to authorize tuition reimbursement for Lauren Cascone for the 2019 spring semester. The total tuition cost is $6,294 plus $331 in fees and $76.50 in materials, for a total of $6,701.50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to authorize the hiring of Sidney Levine as a summer intern in the Millwood Water Treatment Plant with an effective date of June 3rd, 2019 through July 29th, 2019 at a rate of $12 per hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve a memorandum of agreement with the Newcastle PBA with regard to General Municipal Law, Section 207-C, procedures contained in Appendix D to the CBA.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move to designate 2 Hamilton Avenue as a Newcastle historical landmark.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to designate 28 Barnes Road as a Newcastle historical landmark.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move to adopt a local law regarding modification of the vape law to include marijuana sales.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to advertise for 2 part-time seasonal workers in the Department of Public Works.
Second.
All in favor?
I move to approve the hiring of independent contractors and camp staff in accordance with the attached list and rate schedule. We've seen it.
It was in last
Yes.
week's packet.
Yep.
Yes.
Do we have a
So we get a
second?
second.
I just did 3 times. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4 times. I move to approve a contract extension for tree removal, pruning, vertical mulching, and stump grinding with Olmsted Tree, Shrub, and Lawn Care until July 18, 2020, in accordance with the 2016-2017 accepted bid.
Sexy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to allow Aldrich Road to be blocked for a block party on Saturday, June 8th, 2019, beginning at 3 p.m. Sound good? Yes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We done?
Move to adjourn the meeting?
Is that it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wow.